Hey Internet, Sergeant, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today's episode, in case you haven't heard all over the internet, Chase is back with their annual elevated Sapphire offer. This time around, the Sapphire Preferred's got 100,000 points up for grabs. So in simple fashion, we'll talk about the offer, terms and conditions, requirements, eligibility, everything you need to know to make Chase's money become your money. So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now down below, at the time of taping, you'll find a direct offer link. I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that for Chase. In the future, if this offer is available via referral, then I will swap out that direct link for some channel member referral links most likely. But again, it's the same as the public offer, so we do appreciate it if in the future we have those links, you use them. But of course, use whichever one you prefer. So with that said, let's get into it here, taking a look at the promotional material. And Chase spared no expense because not only do they have a super high offer, they also have 3 happy people. One is kind of cut out of the picture, but I will assume she's happy as well, so we like to see that. No expense spared, very good all around. Now, we don't need a requirement slide. We can stick right here because you can see earn 100,000 bonus points after you spend $5,000 on purchases in the first 3 months from account opening. Pretty simple, right? It's a credit card. Apply, be approved, do the spend, get your points. Easy enough, right? Don't need to belabor the point there on requirements. We will have a note section to cover some options and what you can use these for, but I will say up front, yes, Chase, their cards are based on, like the Freedom line is cash back, the Sapphire line is points, but if you wanted to cash these points out, ultimate reward points, you can still cash them out at 1 cent per point or use them for travel, which we'll talk about in a little bit when we look at the card itself. So don't be deterred if this is like if you're not a travel fan, this is still likely worth doing. So with that, let's just keep moving here. Eligibility, fees, and closure next. Now, you might be familiar with this, but it is nationwide, of course. You cannot currently hold a Sapphire card if you're going to apply for this card, which would include the Sapphire Preferred, of course, the Sapphire Reserve. There's also like I don't know if they still have it, but there used to be a no annual fee Sapphire card. It's just kind of like a worthless card. I don't know anyone who has that card, but just be aware of that. Now, you can have had a Sapphire bonus in the past 48 months. Makes this quite a cool down period in between churns, of course, and then Chase 524 if you've opened 5 or more new credit card accounts, usually personal accounts in the past 24 months. That's an automatic decline, so keep those in mind. There's a $95 annual fee. It is not avoidable. It will be charged in your first billing cycle. And of course, keep the card open for 1 year. So there you go. Let's we'll break that down in a note section and we'll take a look at the card itself. So with Chase, they do specify that rule. If you can only have 1 Sapphire card at a time. Weirdly enough, if you go into their terms and conditions for this offer, this is the first time that I can remember they actually reference calling in to product change. It says something effective if you currently have this card, phone in to see what your options are about product changing. They even specify that you will not get an intro offer if you product change cards, which is nice actually, because normally they don't mention that at all. They don't mention that you're not going to get an intro offer until they're reading you, the whole memo that they have to read you if you go through with it. So I'll have to say, we covered a lot of this on the main channel, in the Chase playlist if you are interested. But if you currently have a Sapphire card and it's been 48 months since your last bonus, well, you could, of course, simply cancel the card, but I would call in and product change it. Again, the caveat being make sure you've had the bonus on the card that you're changing to. That's how many of us, myself included, get multiple Freedom cards. That's why I have 5. I had a Sapphire Reserve, then I did that. I had a Sapphire Preferred, and I did it again. I think that was 2 years ago, so I got 2 more years before I can try to do this again, but I don't know if I'll ever be under 524. So you've got options there, which is nice. We touched on it with the points itself, but again, it is ultimate reward points, but it's a flexible points currency, so you can cash it out at 1 cent per point if you want, or you can use it as travel, which you'll see in a second, and when we take a look at the credit card. So overall, it's really not that bad on eligibility there, and I think this is, the highest offer I can remember on the Sapphire Preferred. And when I did it again, it was 80,000. This time it's 100. So, a lot of videos are going to say, is it worth it? Is it not? It's worth it. It's the high offer. Just do it. Year number 2, you can decide if you want to keep it based off the credit card and what it offers, which we will talk about now. And you have it on screen. So as we said, Sapphire Preferred has an annual fee of $95. Multipliers, 5x travel if you book via the travel portal. 2 back on regular travel, 3 back on dining, 3 back on streaming, 3 back on online groceries, no Target, Walmart, or wholesale clubs, 1 back on everything else. Your benefits are no foreign transaction fees, 10% anniversary points based on total spend. You do get a $50 hotel credit via the Chase portal. I've done a whole video on that when I had this card about 2 years ago. It's really easy to use. I got face value for it, so I think it's fine to value it at $50. There is also, the main travel benefit folks like is there's primary CDW on this card, which is great because it's not a Visa Infinite, which you normally see that on those cards. And again, it's, a lower price card given what you're getting. The superpowers here combine your ultimate reward points from other cards and the Freedom line. You can transfer those points to airline hotel partners, so you're talking Hyatt, Marriott, United, folks like that, Southwest. And you also have 25% points boost when booking travel via the travel portal through Chase. So overall, again, it's not too bad. I think the card is mediocre at best. The problem with this card is, it chases a lot. It needs higher multipliers. The Freedom cards are actually so good that they kind of push this one down a little bit. It's kind of tough, but then the Sapphire Reserve also needs boosted multipliers. But this isn't really a comparison of the card. We're just here for the money. So honestly, I think 100,000 points is more than worth it for just a $95 hit, which can be offset with that $50 credit that you do get in year number 1 to use. So if you're eligible, I think this is the offer to get. It's going to take me 2 more years to do it. Of course, you want to value those points. You can do the math on that, see what you're getting at your transfer partners. If you go to the travel portal, which I used to do back in the day when I had the Sapphire Reserve, or cash them out at one set of point, which is what I would personally do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Very few cards are giving you this many points. For 5,000 is a lot in spend, but still, I think it's more than worth it. We don't need a whole video belaboring the point. You know why we're here. So with that said, let's hit the summary slide and bring us home. And as we said, the target is Chase. You're looking at the Sapphire Preferred credit card. Of course, this is nationwide. Your payout is 100,000 ultimate reward points. Requirements: apply and be approved as always, then spend $5,000 in the first 3 months of opening. You do have that pesky $95 annual fee, and you're going to want to keep this card open for 1 year. And even then, the product changing strategy still works to get more useful cards out of it. So there you go. That is the Sapphire Preferred. But of course, if this one is not for you, well then check out profitablecontent.com, which is the channel's blog. We not only have the latest news stories, we have plenty more bank promotions. We have some from Chase. I believe the Chase $900 checking plus savings combo just got extended, so you could really double up and do some damage there as well. And of course, we have other credit cards from Amex, Chase, Capital One, all those guys as well. If you want even more action, always link down below for you. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for this one. So if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, as we're posting content just like this every single week on how to make the bank's money, become your money, and of course, every single day over on profitablecontent.com. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.